Hi, I'm Kathryn Eddy. I'm a multidisciplinary artist that works with sound installations, and I'm going to be reading my paper, Sound Animals, Art, Empathy, and discussing my ongoing project, the Urban Wild Coyote Project. Can holding and activating a remote for a hunting collar and listening to the sounds of dying animals and recorded television actors portraying serial killers create empathy? In the times of an overwhelming pandemic, can art make a difference? I'm a multidisciplinary artist whose immersive sound installation work straddles the tenuous space between art and activism. I have spent countless hours with headphones on, recording animal voices with my field recorder, listening to the voices of animals without translation. I have painted, photographed, drawn, sculpted, and collaged images of animals, all with a question in mind. Can art bridge the empathy gap? Can an immersive sound installation create a space for pause and reflection that garners change? Will there be worldwide changes made post-coronavirus? Will we as a collective species look at our obvious human impact on our planet? The Urban Wild Coyote Project began with questions and research and heartbreak. However, it was the coyote's voice, heard across North America, that initially inspired me to begin the project. Having a voice is important. Every being that has the capacity for a voice has something to say. I try through my work to decenter the human and hopefully spark a conversation that questions our self-made hierarchy. For so long, human animals have erred by thinking that our voice is the only one that matters, and have tried to translate animal voices through our own language. Some things are untranslatable, and I am okay with that. When we hear the wail of a piglet, the cries of lambs separated from their mothers, the bleeding fawn caught on a fence, or the coyotes howling across canyons and fields, we are hearing their experience. I try to not anthropomorphize and place my emotions onto the animals, but there's little doubt in my mind that the animals I record are experiencing emotion, and these emotions are embodied by their voice. I listen as both an activist and artist and try to listen with an impartial ear. Animals are the subjects of their own lives, and what they are saying or not saying through their voice is of utmost importance to them. I am an eavesdropper. I resist anthropomorphizing, but this is a contradiction, as I realize that I can't create the artwork without imparting my own meaning. As both artist and activist, I work that tenuous line between art and activism. I have to find that perfect and elusive space in the middle. If I err on the side of didactic, I end up with propaganda. And if I lean toward ambiguous, no one gets the message. It also comes down to the basic fact that to hear is passive and to listen is active. An activist creates change. So to paraphrase sound artist Kathy Lane, to listen as an activist act is to listen to the silenced and marginalized. Empathy is vitally important for activism, and as a tool, it is very effective. I don't think that I have to project my human feelings to be empathetic. As long as I can recognize that animals have feelings, not necessarily like my feelings, but feelings of value that matter to the animal. It is that respect that fuels my empathy. I do not tell the viewer listener what and how to think. I ask questions and do not answer them. My goal is to get the viewer to listen, and by making the experience as immersive as possible, they then become active participants. I want to encourage slowing down and actually hearing the animal sounds for what they are, animals vocalizing their meaning. I choose subjects and less popular animals that most human animals turn away from. My sound works have explored factory farming, grieving and loss, coyotes and hunting, and conversations with chickens. Affect is very important to all of them. I try to create an immersive installation that coerces the viewer listener to, again, not only become part of the piece, but explore the gray area, that place where they are left to fill in their own thoughts and meaning through a sound installation experience. As I mentioned earlier, the Urban Wild Coyote Project began with questions. How can we learn to coexist with the ever-adaptable coyote, masters of hiding in plain sight, found in every American continental state, in cities, suburban neighborhoods, and rural areas? Is hunting an act of imperialism? And how can I explore our intersection with the elusive yet ever-present coyote? I began looking around my house at everyday household objects, things around us that we often don't notice and tend to ignore. I chose to work in collage, a medium that is historically political and accessible, thus well suited to the project. So I'm going to hold up one of these collages as I describe what I was doing. I cut out human eyes and lips from images found in fashion magazines, something I had done in my previous work as a way of expressing our blindness toward the abuse of animals caught up in our blatant consumerism. I also cut out coyotes from internet stock photos, chandeliers from restoration hardware catalogs, and interiors from design magazines. I photographed the coyote cutouts on vintage wallpapers, which led to making my own wallpapers utilizing the earlier subjects. I searched for vintage patterns that would bring a sense of nostalgia into the piece and painted and drew coyotes into the rural scenes. Subversion is definitely an important theme. I'm trying to twist how we see or don't see things. I printed my collages on shiny drink coasters, and I have a few of them here to show. There are a lot of them. The Coyote Project had moved into the world of overconsumption. I ordered a coyote hunting collar on Amazon. It arrived in its bright green box, promising to teach me to speak the language. According to the directions, the smart hunter could speak the language of hunger, to call in, shoot, and kill coyotes. In the context of sound in the hunting collar, humans actually recorded the sounds of dying and distressed animals and the sounds of coyotes vocalizing and pups playing to encourage the coyote to come closer in order to then kill the coyote. All packaged in a neat little plastic product, a commodity for profit and consumption on all levels. I began thinking of the ethics of using a dying and or distressed animal's voice to trick another animal to respond and then die as a result. What is the human animal equivalent of tricking someone to their death? How do human animals express themselves? To attract, deceive, flatter, kill? How do we hear and not hear, listen and not listen? I began planning the recordings that would eventually become the backdrop ambient sound for the hunting collars. It was time to look at the American obsession with serial killers. It is no secret that crime shows featuring serial killers is almost a guaranteed success. Women write to imprison serial killers and marry them in prison. I began binge watching reruns of crime shows and documentaries. Certain patterns developed. Probably the most noteworthy was the abundance of home security system commercials playing during the episodes. Insecurity sells home alarms. I recorded pickup lines used to lure victims to predators. I also recorded ice cream trucks, babies crying, and songs used to entice children and adults outside of their safety zone. So right now I'm going to play for you the ambient sound that played in the background of the installation. So bear with me.
Who's the bad guy?
Unfinished, she simply disposes of the girl and finds a new one, perpetuating the chilling cycle.
he saved her.
Please don't hurt me.
Consume water.
Leave this room alone. One of you will die.
You can go free whenever you'd like.
Are you scared? You should be.
These kids want popsicles or ice cream. Watch carefully as each kid's choice appears on the... Look at the puppy! Look at the puppy!
Like the puppy?
Yeah.
Can you guess what her name is? I got some more puppies. Want to go see the other puppies? Let's go. Come on. Right over here. Give me a hand. My name's Joe. I'm doing a social experiment. How often do you tell your kid not to talk to strangers? Every day? So if I go over to your kid, will he or she talk to me or run back to you?
Probably not back to me.
Alright, which one's your kid? Do you want me to put it to the test?
Oh, sure. Over there.
Right over there? So if I go over with the puppy, he'll run back to you before talking to me.
Probably.
Alright, so give me permission to put it to the test?
Sure.
Alright, I'm gonna go do it. Hey! You like puppies?
What if she doesn't like me?
Brainwashing?
You like puppies, right? Wanna go see the other puppies? I got a bunch of them. You wanna go?
I'm back. Adorning the coyote collars started with the desire to make them noticeable. Not to humans, but to coyotes. They had arrived as camouflaged plastic. So how could I alert the coyotes to the dangers ahead? I'm going to show you a picture of, this is one of 3 coyote collars. I returned to collage, everything from crystals and magazine eyes and lips, ceramic doll eyes to coyote taxidermy eyes, and text from coyote hunting manuals. And I'm also going to show you, this is the actual, an image of the actual remotes, which were also camouflaged, were actually collaged. In the process of ordering steel foothold animal traps off of Amazon, with the intention of fabricating a wrought iron chandelier, and I'm going to take a moment to show you exactly what that looks like. This is an actual steel foothold trap that I ordered from Amazon. I ordered 9 of them. And then this is the drawing of the proposed chandelier that was going to go into my living room. I took note of the product description and had one in particular turned into a cross-stitched sampler to hang on the wall. It reads, if you like to hunt, but don't have time to sit in a field waiting for wildlife to come to you so you can quickly take a shot, we have your solution. Redneck Convent, and Redneck Convent is the name of the company. And I thought it would be appropriate to have this particularly disturbing quote put on a sweet sampler to hang in my living room. The Urban Wild Coyote project was installed in its entirety, and here's an image of the show in its entirety. In the exhibition, Animals Across Discipline, Time, and Space at McMaster Museum of Art, January through March 2020, and was curated by Dr. Tracy McDonald. The catalog for the exhibition was written by Mandy-Suzanne Wong. It was installed in a 20 feet by 40 feet room with live sound. UWCP turned the white cube of the gallery space into a darkened living room in a comfortable, subversive suburban home. The hunting collars on spotlighted pedestals around the room, art objects to be observed. Come in, take your seat on the sofa, pick up the remotes from the coffee table, just like a TV remote, but not. Cut out eyes return your gaze from every direction, lining the walls in front of you on high-strung dowels, 5 vintage wallpapers hung floor to ceiling, also spotlighted. Tiny coyotes hiding among the patterns, asking you to take notice. We are here. We are not leaving. Hanging from the ceiling, the steel foothold trap chandelier created candlelit ambiance. And this is an image of the actual chandelier hanging above the sofa. And it was made from 9 foothold traps. On the side walls, a large 6 foot by 5 foot painting of a coyote facing a wall of cross-stitched samplers. Home sweet home, but not really. And then this is my final image I'm going to show you. This is the 6 foot by 5 foot painting. And this is the actual coffee table that was in front of the sofa. And on it, you can see the remotes here. And then over here, you can see the 9 coasters, drink coasters. Around the room, 4 speakers emitted the 4-channel soundpiece that moved the sound around the room, while volume moved the sound closer and further away. Voices beckoned from the corners as creepy television serial killers lured their victims. Babies cried from the doorsteps of unsuspecting residents, and ice cream trucks blared their happy yet ominous tunes. Push the buttons on the remotes on the coffee table and see what happens. Ask yourself, who is in control? In another version, I envision the callers outside in the hunter's field, and I rework the sound to loudly play random songs from my mother's album collection. The Bee Gees, cha-cha dance music, Frank Sinatra Christmas music, ABBA, Edith Piaf, anything that might send a message. Run away, run far away. Hunters kill coyotes the rate of 1 per minute, 500,000 per year. By the end of this talk, 20 will be dead, shot, caught in traps, or gassed in their dens. Coyotes have adapted to the onslaught. The more we kill, the more pups they produce. This piece asks far more questions than it answers. What is our obsession with killing? Why are some animals considered okay to kill with impunity? How do you define serial killers? If it is a person that hunts, tricks, and coerces its prey with no remorse, then is the user of a coyote hunting collar a serial killer? Are all hunters serial killers? And most important of all, can art create empathy, and can empathy create needed change? There are no easy answers. In America, we are living in a country divided by different political ideologies, plagued by an unrelenting worldwide pandemic, racism, police brutality, mass shootings, and unprecedented violence. Going forward with resistance, may we all embrace otherness, envisioning a non-hierarchical alternative future, exploring what ecofeminist theorist Heather Eaton calls radical dependency with all other life. Thank you.